Port Perry is a beautiful little town. It's a tourist town. When you go to downtown Port Perry, you'll see lots and lots of people, lots of shops. It's got great theater. It's got a waterfront, which is lovely. It's a wonderful spot. I'm 64 years old. I retired 6 years ago now, which is amazing. My daily life, basically, I get up in the morning, have breakfast with Helen. I then come down to the shop, start building stuff. I love designing stuff, working out around the lake. When theater is going, I'll be building sets for the local theater group and just lots and lots of things like that. My dad was a farmer who eventually became a lumberjack. My dad worked in very, very tough conditions, making parts with absolutely nothing. I can still remember being incredibly young with my dad. The first time he showed me how to cut metal. He cut metal with metal, and I can still remember that day being blown away. I was working with Dad a lot, working in the sawmill, building furniture. I had to build and repair lots and lots of equipment, lots of old equipment, lots of hydraulic equipment, old loaders, old saws. I had to figure out everything. Oftentimes out in the middle of the woods, so that was a big challenge. You had to figure stuff out where you are with whatever you had at hand. One day I took a load of lumber into a local school shop and dropped it off. And the teacher there said, lots of people talk about becoming teachers, but not many people do. So I said, you know what, I think that's something I would really like. So I went back to school, became a teacher, and just loved it, absolutely loved teaching. In 1996 through 1998, Helen and I moved to Kuwait for 2 years. I was right at the dawn of the internet, and there I taught a course called Principles of Technology. I also taught computer studies, and we did lots and lots of cool projects there. We traveled a lot. We traveled through the Middle East, had some amazing adventures. When we came back, it was the department head at St. Joan of Arc High School in Vaughan. And then I moved to Cardinal Carter High School in Aurora. When I was there, we did a lot of fun projects. A huge moment for me was when I found out about engineering challenges. And that became the foundation of all my courses, that I give students engineering challenges. When I was in Kuwait, I became familiar with a competition, a university competition called Formula SAE. So we decided we were going to try to do it. The Formula SAE is a competition where the Society of Automotive Engineers has university students design and build a car. And at the time we were told it was impossible for high school because it's just far too difficult. But I got the students together and they really, really bought into it. And we designed and built a car. We actually competed with the universities. We worked with design competitions with the universities, and the Society of Automotive Engineers of Ontario was very, very supportive. It was fantastic. We had finished doing the Formula SAE competition. We decided that we were going to build a zero emissions race car. BMW holds all the world records in it. We designed and built a complete car in the shop. Everything from engine design to complete chassis build. In testing, we actually beat their 1/8 and 1/4 mile acceleration times. People learning how to build stuff is just fantastic. And that's the big reward for me. Shortly after we moved from Newmarket to Port Perry, Newmarket, which is Newmarket's makerspace, was formed. And I really, really supported it. So I said, I've got to go up and volunteer. They're a wonderful place for people to meet with other technically oriented people, mechanical engineers, electronics engineers. I teach computer numerical controlled machining for metal. I teach welding. I teach lathe work. Everyone who just wants to learn how to build stuff can go there and just learn. It's a fantastic spot that way. My wife and myself, we designed the house. We built many of the main structural features of it. I've got this region that we're sitting in, which is my electronics area. I do a lot of electronics, radio control area in this. I have an underside to the garage, which is a woodworking area. I have the garage area where I work on boats and cars and all kinds of mechanical designs. I do welding there as well. I had renovated, fixed up an old 1967 John Deere lawn tractor. It's a round fender. Very, very cool little lawn tractor I put on Edelbrock mags and everything like that. But we're on a very, very steep slope. And I was afraid that sooner or later I was going to end up in the lake with a tractor on top of me. So I had a problem. So I knew that I had to have something that could manage the steep hills and be reliable. From working with BattleBots, I was familiar with electronics and things like that, so I decided to go at it and see if it would work out, and it worked out beautifully. I've used it full-time, as my full-time mower for about 3 years now, and it just works perfectly. What I love about doing this sort of thing is that when I get started on a project, I have an extremely difficult time stopping. You get completely immersed in the project, and projects take on a life of their own. It's amazing as you age, you go back and you say, wow, it goes so quickly, right? It goes so quickly. And now I see my kids are spread all over Canada and the States. What I hope is that they're seeing that as I turn into my retired years, that I'm not just sitting and watching television and vegetating, that I'm continuing to push on, and I'd like to be able to show them that life is great, life is wonderful, and you just have to just keep going and just keep doing stuff all the time.